To tell you about Humble, we're going to go a little bit further back to why climate for Nina and myself. So we both have a similar story that it came from our childhood. So I'll let Nina tell hers in a second. For mine, it's my mother. My mother is just a hero. And I grew up in a different environment, which I didn't know at the time was protecting nature. I just thought it was life. And it was because we didn't have very much. So our gifts at Christmas would be secondhand clothes from, we call it charity shops. Here it's called thrift shops. Holidays would be camping in the woods, not staying at some flashy hotel. And it was just because we didn't have much money at the time. But because of that, we learned that animals, nature, being outside is beautiful. Then fast forward later in life, my mother then became a climate activist. And so it was a lot more in my face. I got to see her fighting for what she believes in. And she's incredible. She's terminally ill and she's still advocating constantly for fighting for the planet and what she believes in. And it's just such an inspiring story. And so because of that, I wanted to do something meaningful towards protecting nature. And unlike her, my skill set wasn't in going out into the street and banging on government buildings to protest.
You have the physics to do that.
I could have done, yes. I'd probably get arrested a lot faster. She can get away with it more. She's a 70-year-old sweet woman.
She has a burner phone?
She has a burner phone, yes. Sorry, Mama, I'm just giving away all your secrets right now. But my way was through what I can do, which is building solutions to problems. And that's when Nina and I met at a very similar time, and we said, okay, why don't we build something that solves a problem that people face and businesses face, but really helps the environment at the same time. And that's going to be our version of activism. And so I'll explain what Humble does in a minute, but maybe you can give your background.
I also recall the first time. So when you were thinking about business ideas, I was like, what should we start in? It usually starts with a passion, right? Something that happens way back in your lifetime. And when I was recalling, okay, what can we do? And then it brings me back to my memory. Same, my mom and my dad would always get me secondhand items. I think clothes, toys. And every time she would come home to bring us secondhand toys, it's just so unique. Like, I remember that moment when she comes home and gives us a toy. I think it came from the US. But it's not like the typical mass-produced product. So whenever I got those, it really gave me that sense of joy that it's so unique, but at the same time, it's secondhand and it's affordable. So I think growing up, I really carry that because I remember in college, I would really go to ukay ukay. So we call it ukay ukay, but with him, it's charity shop here in the Philippines.
Or thrift shop sometimes.
Thrift shop, yeah. So college, I would really shop secondhand. And then after college, that's the time that I really want to do something impactful, but I also don't know. I never had a background of business, but I just know that when you start a business, it needs to start from purpose within you. That's where I tried to backtrack everything from the past. And that's how it all started.
So then we took that love of secondhand and saw that in the Philippines, it was part of the culture from kind of the masses, this ukay ukay, being able to buy cheap secondhand clothes, but it wasn't ingrained into everybody. Especially businesses and especially middle class, the first class, like these kind of upper market people often saw secondhand as really a poor product. Whereas in Europe and the US, it's starting to become a trendy and a cool thing to buy secondhand because you are being sustainable.
Yeah.
You can find a little treasure. Whereas here, we haven't quite got there yet. So we wanted to also bring that mindset in.
Yeah.
So fast forward to what Humble does. We want to bring items back into circularity. Instead of secondhand being waste, we want to show everybody that this can actually still be treasure. And so we started actually with all types of items that people no longer want, whether it's clothing, whether it's electronics, whether it's furniture, whether it's medical supplies we even had at some point.
Nice.
Let's take that, find a way to recycle it or reuse it and distribute it to people who need it. So that was Humble version 1. Now, as you can imagine, dealing with all of these different types of items, the operation of that is crazy, intense. So we decided, okay, the first sort of mini pivot that we would have is let's focus in on something. So version 2 was, e-commerce returns. And the problem of these logistics companies or online stores, Amazon, for example, Lazada out here in Southeast Asia, Shopee, etc. So many of the items they deliver get returned for various reasons. So we happened to be working closely with a friend of ours who was the CEO of Ninja Van, which is one of the biggest logistics companies here. So we piloted this new Humble version 2 with them, where we would essentially save these e-commerce returns from a landfill, and then we would sell that on our platform called Thrift, B2C. So that was kind of Humble version 2. We refined it a little bit more. And this model was also interesting, and we did okay. And
I loved it, by the way.
Yeah.
It was really good because, again, Filipinos would love a good deal, a good bargain. So we had a lot of followings when we were selling different types, like washing machine.
Yeah.
Nice.
So what we then saw, and this was, I wouldn't say that each of these models was like, this is a model and then it failed, therefore we need to pivot. It was more, we saw a lack of scalability, and therefore, how can we evolve into another model where we see real scalability? And so from that one, the lack of scalability that we saw was, with e-commerce returns, there's only one of every item. There's one television, there's one children's clothing, there's one Dyson hairdryer, there's only one. And so selling that, no business is very interested in buying something which is mixed. And individually, you have to kind of campaign, there's no economies of scale. It's not like I create an ad for this Dyson vacuum, which then we have 10,000. So then people keep buying it. There's one. So of course, the model just didn't have that scalability. So then we sat down and we said, okay, Humble version 3, this is going to be the one. How do we come up with something really scalable and that is refined and focused? So we looked at what is a big climate problem, what is high margin and high value to make it work as a business model, and the decision there came electronics. So laptops and phones. These are high value. Secondhand market is hot all over the world, and e-waste is a real massive issue.
Refurbished phones are also quite popular now.
That's right. Places. That's right. Not here. That's the thing.
But they need some fix up, right? So usually battery life is the biggest issue. I also realized that many people, including myself, unfortunately, I change phones because of the battery. Shit.
Okay.
And if the battery was good, I wouldn't even consider changing the phone. And of course, there are some theories, that it's created like that and stuff like that.
Yes.
But as I see, people that I know selling also and not just buying, there are some, services like that also in my country. What is important that these companies that act as, how will you say that? The one in the middle who buy and then sell. They also have technicians who fix up the things, change things, and they also provide guarantee.
Right.
Or warranty, or
yes, yeah. So exactly that, right? So today, Humble's model is we buy phones, laptops, monitors, desktops from businesses, and then we refurbish it, recycle it, whatever's needed, wipe the data, so on and so forth, depending on what the client has asked for, and then we resell.
Okay.
So the supply side is purely B2B. We get this from corporates, large teams when they need to refresh their items, typically. We do also get items from IT distributor companies, sometimes electronic stores if they have aging
retail.
inventory.
Retail.
Yes. But mostly it's the actual company using the items.
At the moment, which is the more challenging side, buying or selling?
Both. For different reasons. But no, I think it's the buying side. So us getting supply. We have wonderful relationships with great companies, but the time it takes to be able to first engage with a business through to getting our hands on the items, it's a very, very long time. We have some of the top deals that we've closed. We've been around for a while now, so we've got some amazing clients, but some of them took a year. 2 years to even get over the line. Yeah.
And what's the main reason? What do you think? Why does it take so long for these companies?
Initially, it would be company
because it's
process.
an income for them, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
But it would be the process internally. So there are legal process, finance, and it's a new thing really when it comes to liquidating their IT asset. They would have a hard time coordinating within the department. even if we try to help, talking to the management, but sometimes we also have other priority in the business. That's why we also want to do our mindset shift.
Yeah.
It's really helping them understand that this is also helping them with their costs, like freeing up the space and all that.
Yeah, so mostly it's their internal processes. They often will need certain regulatory things
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, makes sense.
Which over the years we've been able to build up much more of, but still sometimes.
And what's the challenge on the buyer selling side? Let's say.
So to sell, it's really the pricing that we come up to. We have got a wonderful network right now of businesses that regularly buy from us, but sometimes on the supply side, that client, of course, they want a much higher price. So for us to be able to find buyers that can do that, and we're solving that problem by, number one, we've launched our B2C platform. So some of the items we sell to individuals. So thrift is active again. And then second is finding, instead of us selling to recyclers or resellers, is to sell to other end clients. So really refurbish these items, wipe the data, and then maybe sell to other startups and SMEs or smaller BPOs, small corporates who are willing to take a refurbished or secondhand item.
Okay.
So that is all in process. That's going to take a little bit of time, which eventually allows us to sell at higher prices.
Okay. And what's Humble 4.0 should look like?
With a dashboard.
So a few things. I think for this year, we're really focused on just driving our revenue targets, making sure that we hit our impact targets as well, bring as many kilograms of e-waste from the landfill as possible. Next year, we'll start seeing a little bit of expansion. We're going to head to Cebu. We just had a great week there to meet some potential clients and see what's possible. So we're going to expand throughout the Philippines a bit next year. Beyond that will be two things. It'll be product and then how else we expand vertically. So in terms of product, I think we're going to release a climate dashboard. So you'll see a lot more on the sustainability side. We've been in talks with Asian Development Bank, who are one of our investors. We're really proud to have them on board. And their knowledge and technical expertise on the climate side is really valuable.
Yeah.
So we'll build a dashboard where our clients not only can review an impact report of how many kilograms of e-waste saved, but we can have a lot more data that they can access live. So carbon emissions reduced, how does that fit in with their own sustainability reporting, so on and so forth. As climate reporting is going to get more and more important here in the Philippines and Southeast Asia in general.
It's also a trend that is happening everywhere. So no one can avoid it sooner or
That's
later.
right.
Will hit in.
And then how else can we use AI to our advantage, right? So pricing, coming up with our valuations of items at the moment is a bit of a manual process, but we can build something ourselves that we're discussing right now, which shows, okay, this 10,000 laptops, these 5,000 phones, this many years old, this damage, this usability, this model, this is the price.
Yeah.
Utilizing artificial intelligence to do that.
Yeah.
So that's another product that we'd like to roll out.
Nice.
Beyond that, we'll grow B2C a lot more than it has been now.
That's your passion.
And
Yes,
this is what Nina drives in the business. Is really
So you are either the
B2C side.
B2B,
I am
you are the B2C.
I do sort of overall responsibility of the company. Nina focuses on like the really special projects, the strategic stuff, which is finding new corporate avenues, new B2C projects wherever we need her and her magic. And then Kathy, our new COO, runs the day-to-day business. Yeah.
By the way, I love origin stories. I know a bit of yours, but I'll ask. But let's start with the lady. So, what's your background before starting Humble? What had you been doing before?
So work-wise, I started with sales, real estate, one of the top agencies here in the Philippines. I've been there like 3 years, and I just realized I do love selling, but I think it came to a point that I'm not gonna enjoy selling a product that I don't believe in. So I had to leave that industry, and I.
So you didn't believe in real estate?
I mean,
Not a personal passion. I
not,
guess.
not a personal passion. People would tell me like you should invest in Airbnbs, but I'm like, not.
That
So
was not
there-
something exciting.
Yeah, it wasn't exciting for me. So there was some misalignment, and I had to like jump from different companies because I think graduating college, my course was mass communication. But with my age back then, it's not as important. Like my dad would always just tell me, just graduate. and there's not a lot of options online that you could research, like what's this course about.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I just chose mass communications minor in advertising because I would say for my 33 years of existence, I would be a creative person, a creative introvert.
34 next week.
Thanks for reminding. So initially I was like,
Happy birthday.
thank you. So I was like, okay, I just want something creative and all that, and I just want to be in a corporate industry. But then I really didn't find my passion there, that I kept moving, and my dad was telling me, why do you keep moving? It's like typical parents in the Philippines, like, just go here, be a teacher. I'm like, no, no, no. Like, I was really the problem child, that I would say no to everything. My mom wanted me to be a teacher, but really I just stuck to my gut. So I said, like, no, I'm gonna move again, jump. But to be honest, deep down I was freaking out. I would jump from one corporation to another because I'm like, I feel like I don't fit the typical system where you the process that you need to follow, and I'm like always breaking the rules. So I ended up moving to a startup. I think that was the first time that I encountered startups. So after real estate, one of our previous boss they own one of the biggest real estates here, but then he got me to work for him, and that was his first startup. So I was like, interesting. Okay, I would like to try this because I will be directly working with the founder, and I want to pick his brain. I really want to understand what happens there.
Yeah.
And then I got exposed to the startup world, so fast paced, and I think I loved it because you get to do so many things at once, and you learn so many things. And
Yeah.
you learn from the owner itself.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, this is nice, but I think the downside to that is I never had like a weekend or a break, but I liked it anyway because I was young. Right? So that was my first exposure with the startup scene. But then eventually I was like, I hit a roadblock. So I wanted to go to a different startup, but that was smaller. This was like what you call it, a seed startup, and it was furniture design because
Okay.
I really love creatives and furniture. And that was the last stint of my career where after a year of working with that boss, I said, I think it's time because I really couldn't find any corporation that fits well with me, and I had that itch where I was
She's a
like,
terrible employee, basically. Is what she's saying. Terrible.
"Actually, that is
You can
Yeah.
only be a founder. you can't work for anybody.
yeah." And I remember that was the last time, and then I told my father, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do my own business. But it was scary because I had to resign that last job, and then my parents were telling me so many things that I was so fearful. But you were supportive. You said, you should do it. So,
Had you already known each other when it happened?
yeah.
At that point, yeah, and we
Yeah.
could make the jump because I was in a CEO position at another
Okay.
company, and so we said, look, let's build it. Nina can go full time. I'll be part time. We'll fund it using my salary for now, and then we can jump both of us full at the time that it makes sense.
Nice.
So yeah, I was in the latter part of building my first startup here,
Okay.
which really I'm so thankful for because my founders there, my co-founders there, were fully supportive of what we were doing at Humble. I think they always knew. They were like, that at some point Joseph's going to fly and do something
Yeah,
else.
it's a big outsourcing, right?
Yes, offshoring. Yeah,
Offshoring.
with some technology and some really nice.
How is
impact.
that company going? now?
Really well. Yes, we've been in. We had a very significant investment from a strategic Japanese investor,
Oh wow.
which is the second biggest HR company in the world, and that was announced about.
Because you also
a year
own
or so
equity
ago.
in that company,
Yes,
right?
that's right. So I'm still very much active, not in an operational side, but
Yeah.
I advise and take part in the board meetings and so on and so
Was
forth.
that the company that brought you to the Philippines? Or
No,
How
it
did
wasn't.
that happen?
Came to the Philippines was a weird job, I was making, it was weird. So I was making documentaries about rising economies to promote investment from the West. So we'd go to Malaysia first, made a documentary about Vision 2020 back then, and we worked with the government and the big companies to finance it, show the country in its best light, and then promote investment. So I came to the Philippines in 2013 and worked directly with the president Aquino at that time, the late Ninoy Aquino. And it was a very interesting project because you're showcasing the country in its best possible way in order to promote funding coming in from foreign direct investment. So I got to meet all these incredible people. I'm 21 at that point.
The photo, I remember you were
And
so young.
it's insane. I'm having to try to outmaneuver or kind of stay on the level with like game-changing.
Were you naive? Like really?
Naive, super.
Okay.
But I had the confidence of
Yeah.
any arrogant. It was crazy. So, and we learned, to be fair, we learned incredible skill set to be able to.
Yeah.
And I think I don't have many things that I would say that I'm great at, but the one thing that I think I love the most is communication and relationship building, and being able to meet somebody and within seconds identifying how can I really relate to this person, so that I can build a relationship in such a short amount of time.
It also
that
worked
role-
well with me.
It did. Thanks for your
Yeah,
investment,
yeah.
Peter.
Oh, come on. You fooled me so well.
But no, with you it wasn't, because you took days to really get to know us
Yeah,
and
yeah,
observe
yeah,
us and
yeah.
understand us. So we joked, but with you it was very different. There was none of that. We had to be completely authentic, and
Yeah,
there was no skills needed, because you're the kind of person where you can see through that anyway.
But should I tell the story, the real story on camera?
Go for it. Yeah.
Why I decided? Do you know the story? Did I
No,
tell
I don't
you?
think she does.
Okay.
I just only remembered it
Oh,
now.
are you ready? No, I'm kidding.
Okay. So are you ready?
Go.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So we met first time, in paradise,
Yes.
Bohol Island,
Okay.
Geeks on the beach, and that was a girl I liked. And I'm not sure if she liked me that much, but we were chatting, and out of sudden this guy shows up and takes it all. and I was like, well, I cannot really blame him, because if I was her, I would have also gone for this guy. I mean, obviously. But then, I realized growing up, I was usually always the shortest, the weakest, and I always surrounded myself with big guys. It was not really a strategy. I didn't mean to do it that way. It just happened. No one ever messed with me because I had the biggest friends. Long story short, I have to team up with the winners. Always have to team up with the winners. And he was definitely a winner. So okay, if I'm very selfish, then I have to just join forces with this dude. That's the best possible strategy out there, right?
I forgot the story. I completely
Yeah,
forgot.
yeah.
That was, yeah.
I'm not a competitive personality, not at all. I'm a very collaborative type of personality.
Yeah, clearly.
And most
Connect
people, yeah, absolutely. Many people out there, when they see someone better at them at anything, they will do everything to hate him
Yeah.
or her,
Take them down.
just
Yep.
push down, whatever. That's the worst strategy that you can
I agree.
have.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
It's the same when you see competitors entering your market in business.
Yeah.
There's two approaches.
Absolutely.
You either get massive paranoia and talk badly about them,
Yeah.
or you partner up.
So we were running a big conference in Budapest, like really big. And out of sudden, something found us on Facebook back in the days, an advertisement for an event which had a very similar name.
Okay.
And I immediately sent them a message like, hey guys, you could have been more creative with finding a name for your event.
I see.
And then, and a smiley, so
Yeah.
I was not offensive. And then they wrote back, and eventually we ended up creating the event together.
Excellent.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And we both had more successes that we could have done without
Yeah,
each
correct.
other. So it's just I think it all comes down to the ego and
Yes.
and the competitive kind of
Yes.
approach.
Yeah.
I think I'm selfish, but I think long term, and that makes a difference. Because
Right.
selfish people who think short term, they would not behave the same way as
Makes
I
sense.
do.
Makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, back to your origin story.
Uh,
Oh yeah.
yeah, building relations with people in the Philippines. So, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's so. When I first came to the Philippines, that's what I was doing, and they tried to send me to another country to do the same job, but I just fell madly in love with the
With
place.
the
Yeah.
driver, right?
I mean, there was fell in love with my driver. Yeah, that sounds great.
But that was the
Gosh,
start.
always a winner. Falling in love with his driver.
Yeah.
When I first landed here, I was picked up by a taxi driver. There was no Grab, no Uber back then. And this taxi driver took me to my hotel, the other side of the city, which in the traffic takes 2 hours. Stuck. And he was just incredible. And I'd just been living in KL for the last 6 months. Before that, Singapore. Before that, Belgium. Before that, the UK. And I'd never really found a place where I felt like my values, I identify with the people around me and they're similar. I find the occasional person, but not like where, I feel it's innate in their culture.
Yeah.
But just in this taxi ride, this guy was just formidable. He showed me so much kindness, humility, loyalty, humor, like just being able to laugh at yourself. And these beautiful qualities were just everything that I value the most.
Yeah.
And then I met another person, and another person, and another person, and just realized that's Filipino culture. It really is. There's so much talent, there's so much brilliance, but there's also that beautiful humility and loyalty and kindness at the center of it. And so I made a decision very early on that I want to live here. And so then we started building and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I knew I always wanted to be an entrepreneur and build something beautiful, but the idea took a while to come. And I'm so glad it didn't come back then when I first moved here, because it would have burnt down in a fire. Absolutely, because I didn't know what I was doing. You know, I would take on positions that were extremely senior and absolutely not be ready for it, and then just try and figure it out on the job. It's just the kind of person I am.
Yeah.
I got my first CEO position when I was 24. I knew nothing. The fact that I got hired for it is a joke, but then I learned it. You know, luckily they didn't fire me for the first couple of years, and I was terrible. But eventually managed to learn it.
So you were better as an employee than Nina was.
I don't know. She's more honest. I would say anything just to get the position.
Yeah.
You know, and then figure it out. So we were different.
Yeah.
But eventually, I've changed a lot over the years. You know, massively. There's this.
How was he like?
Oh no.
As much as you want to tell.
Do it. Tear me apart.
He was
it's fine.
like a pain in my ass.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like always worried about things and other issues. But again, I think the reason why we're still co-founders is because the value. Same value, the way that we see things. And I think we grew up together, right?
Yeah.
8 years. Yeah.
How many years now have you been?
8 years.
8 years. That's
Yeah.
a long time.
And, you know, I, if we can, I'd love to gear this conversation into a couple of slightly more deep topics.
When the camera is turned off.
No, we can.
Okay.
It's up to you. If you
No,
don't want to.
it's up to you.
Okay,
I'm
great.
totally open.
No, so because I said this stuff on stage at Go Up as well.
Okay, then absolutely, yeah.
Because something which is a big part of our story, there's a couple, but one is mental health, and the other one is spirituality. Because I'd love to talk about faith as well. Are these things that we can speak about here?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Anything, come on.
Okay, so let's start with.
There's no format.
Depends on the story.
I mean,
Yeah.
no, really. It's just an honest conversation.
Good.
Between
Well,
us.
I mean, I thought we can make it a bit different. Like people don't often talk about these things. Good.
Absolutely.
So we're talking about me being a pain in your ass,
yes.
because I was.
Yeah.
But one of the big reasons for that is you know, aside from the funny side, is also the darker side, is that the struggles that I've always gone through, but in particular in the last, I'd say 5-6 years, were just a huge part of our partnership. You know, I went through, and I'm saying this now because I want people to really understand that they're not alone. And so many people go through this. So many people struggle, and our struggles might be different. You know, mine, like anxiety, panic, depression, addiction. People will have different diagnoses, but they may have the same diagnosis, but it will still be different. But what is the same is that they're suffering.
Yeah.
And so many people are afraid or don't want to talk about it. And I understand why, because I also did it. You know, I don't want my investors to know that I just had a panic attack and ended up in hospital. They'll think I'm weak. I don't want my team to know that I've been going through depression in a dark room. I won't be the hero I want them to think I am. But that was totally the wrong mindset. And so previously, our business struggled, our partnership struggled, everything struggled because I would try to keep it to myself, and so I would implode.
Yeah.
But eventually, when I started sharing it, we were able to do something about it. Manage each other's energy. If I'm down, Nina needs to step up. If Nina's down, Kathy steps up. Whatever it might be, Enzo. Get each other the help that we need. You know, be on the same page. One of the things that I've said recently is the role of the CEO. I can explain in one word. It's clarity. It's to provide clarity about the direction, clarity about the vision, clarity about what the role is, what the focus is. It's just to provide clarity. Everything else is detail around that. If the CEO can do that effectively, they do their job right. When I hit it and I was going through these issues alone and not really sharing it with anybody, I was not providing clarity. but when I shared it, I could. And so everything changed. Because of sharing it, I then found therapy, found fitness, found meditation, found prayer, which is another thing that we can discuss. But I'm mentioning that here because anyone who listens or watches what you create and is seeing this today, if there's one person who is encouraged to therefore, okay, I'm going to speak up about this a bit more and not hide it as much, then it's worth it. Because it totally changed my life. And there's a reason why is Humble so successful in the last year versus the 3 before? Why are we doing so much better now? Why do we hit profitability now and close all these amazing clients? There's reasons for that. And one of them is because...
So was it the stress from building the company that caused you all those problems? Or
I think when there are issues of that deep, or the diagnosis is that serious, it's normally always a combination of something that happened in childhood that you need to understand.
Okay.
Or multiple things, an entire upbringing. For me, it was the entire thing. Just chaos, a lot of violence, a lot of difficulty.
Violence?
Yes. Yeah, big part of my past.
That's not good, yeah.
And then you mix that with your
Very
current
the subject
environment.
of the violence, or
Both. Both. There's violence. Gangs in the UK is a huge thing, and a big part of my upbringing when I was younger. But more so, I think, in terms of damaging for me, was alcohol and drug abuse. Ever since I was extremely young. And I never knew it until recently. We only identified it as a problem like 4 years ago. But then you look back and you're like, hang on, Joe, you were drinking at 10, considerably.
wow.
You know? You wouldn't stop. Everyone else stops on a Saturday night. You keep going till Tuesday, Wednesday.
And part-time even.
You know, like and we never identified this as a problem. No one around me.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, you know, when it starts to cause real problems in your life and health issues, etc., you then realize, oh my goodness, I'm an addict. And that was one of the best things to have ever happened to me, was to go through that realization. You know, and I just celebrated 1 year sober, funnily enough.
Nice.
Yeah, October the 1st.
So we're not gonna get drunk tonight.
Sadly not. Just green tea. So that's one of the reasons I think behind us doing a lot better is because I'm in a better place.
Yeah.
Really, as a business, the business is going to perform as a reflection of its founders,
of course,
and its top level team. You know, if its founders are in a great place, you're probably. And I really believe this. Like, self-development should be the focus, because if you are in your best self,
and the core team has been keeping together, right, for long years.
Well. Yes, yeah, super supportive, really.
Nice.
And
because that's also reflection, you know. If people stay.
That's true. And so that's one major thing that's happened. The other major thing that's happened is faith. And so Nina is very inspiring. Her relationship with God is like nothing I've ever seen. And I was a very strong atheist my entire life. And very, very, very strong. Very respectful of all religion, but I was a really strong atheist.
Fair, yeah, you were respectful.
I was. I mean, I would even go to church with Nina because it was important to her, right? Things like that. And I'd encourage her to do it more because I could see it made such a big difference in her life. And then she would tell me, you know, she'd always want me to find a relationship with God myself. Not imposing any one religion, by the way. I'm talking spirituality when it comes to me. And I'd always say to her, I'm really sorry, it's just not going to happen. I'm going to let you down here. Try to manage your expectations.
What he doesn't know is because sometimes you don't have to be like, oh my God, I'll pray for you. Like, I pray secretly for him because I'm dealing with
you're
stress. I'm like,
with a little voodoo doll and like,
please do something.
And
that was how
it worked. It worked because, again, in November last year, I was going through something. We met then. It was very soon after that GoAb. So when you met me the first time, no, the second time. We met at the first GoAb 2 years ago, didn't we?
Yes, that was the first time we met.
So last year, I was going through something and in a very dark place and I'd never prayed in my life ever. And then this thing just came over me and I suddenly just found myself praying about something. It was taking my strength.
Did you know how to do it?
I mean, the funny thing is that I grew up singing in cathedrals 12 times a week. So I've read out prayers, I've sung sacred stuff, but it never meant anything.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I was always like, I was there for the music.
But you had the words.
I had words, but this prayer wasn't. It started with "Dear God," but the rest was just real.
Okay.
It wasn't from scripture. It wasn't from anything. It was just, "Dear God, take any strength I've got and give it to this person I've hurt." And it felt like this huge, overwhelming feeling. I was crying. I was very emotional, and it was not a normal human thing that I felt. And so many other things happened, but I prayed every day since then. And I think in the days leading up to that, Nina could already sense it was happening. I asked her, like, how do you pray? I started being more inquisitive about it. Because I also realized faith is a choice. I always thought, like, oh, I wish I could believe. Imagine having that beautiful hope that you're not the only one in control and that something beautiful is going to happen because someone else or something else has destined you to it. I wanted to believe that. But I just couldn't. I couldn't come to figure out the logic of it. But then something happened when I got the feeling that, well, I can choose this. And so I just said, okay, what if I actually decide to have faith? And so I started praying, and that happened, and it happened again and again and again. I started going to church, started learning about Buddhism and Hinduism and Islam and Christianity and Catholicism and everything, and just became fascinated. And I would say that today, so much of the great things that have happened to us and to Humble is very much because of that shift. You know?
And I think I would say when he was also saying about the role of a CEO is clarity. And before, when he never had that clarity, that was like also my point where I was praying to God. I was like, Lord, I really need help, because as founders in any relationship, you need to have the same mindset, right? With things, at least values. So that was like what was pushing me to keep praying for him, and not just that, but like the support also, because I can see past through what I'm seeing on the natural, but deep down I know that there's something there. So I never quit. And then after that, when he found God, there's also, I see a clarity now, like with his identity, with your identity. So now it really clicks with, you seeing your real identity right now versus before, where it was so clouded. And now I'm happy days, the CEO is
so I just remember someone said once that on an airplane, when the engines went, just stopped, everyone becomes religious,
Right.
So
that's right. And I think that's one element of it, which is, okay, I'm desperately holding on to something to prevent something awful happening to me because I'm afraid of dying. But I found so much more benefit from it, so much more. And if let's link this to business, like to building a company, there's a few things. One is the element of control. Now, before, when I was a leader, feeling like I'm completely in control, if I'm not good that day, or if I'm not good that month, or if I'm not doing the right thing, like the business isn't going to do well. It's all on me because I'm in control. And that's a very stressful existence. And you've got teammates, but otherwise it's really on you. But when you let go of that and you realize that somebody else or something else is driving, it's such a relief. Because as long as you're doing the right things and doing your best and you're praying about it and you're putting the right things, you can have that trust that something else is actually going to make it happen as well. That's one. Go on.
Sorry, go on.
Well, so some of the other ways that I think it can really help, right? Praying for clarity and guidance. What's interesting here is that if you're in business and you're saying, look, these are my problems, like you would pray, dear God, my problems are these, and this is the help I need. In business, that's really useful. We don't always say out loud, okay, this is the issue, this is what I need. So you're manifesting, or you're praying, or you're just saying the right things to your team members and getting the honest issues out on the table. So even if you don't believe that there's any higher power, praying for clarity and guidance is a no-brainer. Then another one is practicing gratitude. A huge part of spirituality is saying, thank you for everything that you've given me. Thank you for everything I have. In business, we need to do that more. Celebrate the wins, because we get to a milestone and we immediately forget about it and we just go to another. The goalposts always move. So having gratitude is also a really, really important one.
We could keep on talking about so many things, and is there anything you would still like to, I don't know, cover in this conversation? Mention any topics?
Who are your audience?
I have no clue.
Okay.
People who like me, they are my audience. The ones who hate me would never watch it, especially to this point. So
No, they switched off ages ago.
Yeah.
They already wrote their hateful comment and fucked off to dinner.
they wouldn't even find time for that. But I mean, most probably like-minded people, who are mostly entrepreneurs, I would say, or wanna-be entrepreneurs, or just people who are open-minded.
Okay. Well, you know, it just came to my mind, which is really gratitude to you. And I think there's really different types of investors. And I was thinking the other day, because a good investor that I have always looked up to was saying something about how they might say no to a company or a founder a few times and eventually say a yes. You know, when they relook at the business and all this stuff again. And I got thinking about this. And I started thinking, like, I'm not sure I would do the same. And I'm not sure I would do it from an investor standpoint. And I don't think I'd accept it as a founder. And here's why. Building Humble, as you've seen, there's been several different versions.
Yeah.
Any business that pitches to me as an investor, I would know, especially if it's early stage. We're talking about early stage here.
Yeah.
I would know that company is going to be extremely different in the future. Whatever happens, what they're presenting me today, it's extremely unlikely that that's going to be what it is in 10 years. Yeah. So what are you actually looking for? You're looking for the founders. You're looking at the overall vision. You're looking at, does it align with your own values? Are they passionate? Can they adapt? Do they have the skill set and the quality to be able to know when to pivot and change, etc.? Do they have the resilience and the attitude to stay it? It's really the people. Everything else is going to change. So it's the people and the vision.
Yeah.
And so that's what you saw in us, right?
Definitely.
And that's why you invested, and I know that. That's why you got to know me in that few days, rather than
we literally spent
humble,
the weekend
humble.
together after Goab, if you remember.
We did, but how
and
much
we had
did
so much fun.
We did. How much time did we talk about the
we
model?
connected so well, not zero.
Right?
But I didn't care too much
Because
because I wanted to get to know you.
Exactly.
You know?
Because, I respect that a lot, and I think not enough investors are like that. And it's up to them. They're deciding to put their money. But for me, I would approach it in exactly the same way, because, again, and also as a founder, my feeling is, if you said no to me those times before, then you didn't see the passion, the attitude, and that hasn't changed. I'm still the same guy. Like, I've improved, but I'm still the same guy.
Value-wise.
So if you didn't see that back then, now you're seeing maybe the numbers have improved, and that's why you're investing. I don't think that's a good reason for you to invest. I think the reason to invest is because these are the people that are going to take you there.
Yeah, and to be part of not just the winning aspect that I mentioned earlier, but also to be part of a group of people that want to do something that matters, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, what life is, and now we are becoming really sentimental, but I mean, who knows how long we live,
Correct.
And we really don't
go on this journey with people you care about, It's not like business is here and then we live the rest of life. Like, when you're in this kind of entrepreneurship, business is a big part of your life.
Absolutely.
Do it with people that you love.
And people like us, if I may say, we don't do business only for the money. Money is an important feedback, of course, and it's the fuel for things, but eventually we want to create something that matters.
Correct.
Invest. I know it's very corny and overused, but
it's
just
very
so
true. It is true. Especially for us. The money side is so that we can grow as much as possible, so that we can have more impact.
Yeah, and to me, what's even more exciting is that I can play this game globally.
Yeah.
Which was completely unimaginable when I was, let's say, 10 years
awesome.
old.
That's awesome.
Like, it was literally unimaginable.
Yeah.
And then the impossible is possible, That's part of the game.
Yeah.
One of the things I said right at the end of my talk at Go Up last week, I was saying to people, I said, like, support each other. I got everyone to show each other some support. So don't judge each other. Don't, be jealous of each other. uplift each other, because the best people I know, they want others to win more than themselves.
Definitely.
And that's also the definition of you.
Yeah.
You're a serial connector.
Yeah.
You want to help two other people together rather than yourself with any one of them.
When I see, the excitement I feel after making an introduction, working out,
Yeah.
it's hard to explain. Really.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really feel I'm valuable. I feel
Yeah.
that I contributed to something that matters.
That's right.
You know, I found my role, my skills that I can really put into action, and
Yeah.
that's a great feeling.
Fantastic.
And I
Love
wish
it.
that kind of feeling, whatever that feeling can be generated by
Yeah.
to everyone, because
Like a ripple effect.
if everyone would find not just what they're good at, but how they can implement it into something, there would be no fights and no wars.
That's true. My goodness. That's very true.
Yeah.
Love it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's eat.
Let's go and eat. Thank you, guys.